Hello, friends, and welcome back to my podcast, Unwind and Knit with me. My name is Lisa, and I'm coming to you from Christchurch in New Zealand. And my computer's decided to go to sleep. This is episode 62, and today's Wednesday, the 25th of September. So, welcome back to all my existing viewers, and thank you, and welcome to any new viewers. I hope you enjoy the content. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel, give it the thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and feel free to leave comments. I read them all and I do endeavour to get back to everybody. So this is my little part of the internet world where I talk about my knitting and my yarn and patterns and my little online yarn store that I have. I endeavour to come to you every 2 to 3 weeks, and that generally depends on how much life gets in the way. I do knit every day. I'm a pretty obsessed knitter, love knitting, love fibre, and I share it with you. So thank you and welcome. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as Unwind and Knit with me. There are 2 Facebook pages, and one of them's a community Facebook page where you have to answer a few questions and be approved by a moderator. But that's where you can share things that you're doing, because you get to see everything I'm doing, and it's really nice to see what you're posting and what you're up to. So that's Instagram and Facebook. I am on Ravelry as Lisa NZ Knitter, although I must confess I'm not great keeping my Ravelry up to date. Everything I talk about here I leave below in show notes, and I leave links to any patterns, any yarns, anything that I reference is left below in my show notes. And I also have an online store, which is unwindandknit.com, where I bring into New Zealand quite a few yarns from the UK and Shetland. It's just lots. Mohair Fibres from Italy. So please jump over to my online store and have a look. And for all of you that have supported my online store, thank you. And today I also have a prize winner. Last episode I was celebrating, it was 3 years and over 3,000 subscribers, and I have this beautiful Myak yarn in this gift box. There's 6 skeins of it there, and this is their new Cooper, which is 50%. I haven't got my glasses, so when I wear my glasses I'm really conscious that there's quite a bit of glare that comes off the light and reflects off my glasses, so I try to manage without them. But this is their new Cooper, which is 50% baby yak and 50% organic cotton, and it's so soft, it's so divine. I'll announce the winner for that a little bit later in this episode. What the deal was with that is you jumped onto my website and subscribed to my email, and then I did a random generator. I normally insert the image that the random generator gives me, but the image was of this person's actual email address, and I don't want to put that on here, so I will tell you the person's name and I will contact them via email. And I'm really thrilled to say it was a New Zealand winner, and it was completely random, so happy that it's staying in New Zealand. So yeah, Myak fibre gift box, I will announce the winner for that. And my computer keeps going to sleep, which is really, really frustrating. In this episode, I will talk to you about what I'm wearing and any FOs, whips, new cast-ons, new patterns. I share with you a lot of patterns that I have found over the weeks. I do spend quite a bit of time on Ravelry, so I share with you patterns and some yarn recommendations for those patterns. And towards the end, I'll also, I've been trying to have a couple of recommendations of people that you may want to follow on YouTube and Instagram. So I'll share some of those with you towards the end as well. Also towards the end, I do a shop update, and that's where I talk about my shop and what's new yarns that have arrived and what's going on there. So I'm just going through my notes. We've had a really big the last 3 weeks. So when I saw you in my last episode, I talked about how my husband was going off to run this backyard running event, and then it was Father's Day, and then it was my daughter's graduation, and then it was my husband's birthday. So we had 4 sort of family events and celebrations in the last 3 weeks. So I have been quite busy, but a lot of people sent well wishes to my husband for his running event. So he's a long distance trail runner, but he did this event called Backyard, where they ran around in circles, 6.7k loops, and they have to leave the corral every hour on the hour. His goal privately was to achieve 24 hours, which is 100 miles or 160 kilometers. And he actually achieved 26, so he did 2 laps more. So thank you to everybody that sent well wishes. At the end too, I'm going to insert a couple of photographs of my husband and my daughter helped crew, and we also had another friend help crew through the nights for this running event. But there is a photo of my husband and I and my daughter just before the event started, and there's also a couple of photos of my daughter's graduation. So I thought I'll share those with you, but it'll be right at the end for anyone that's interested. So FOs and what I'm wearing. So I'm really excited to be wearing this. So this is the Suri Tee by Caidree, and I will insert a photograph shortly. I'll stand up quickly, but I'm wearing black on black, so you probably won't see it really well. But there's a split hem there. You don't want to see my tummy. I'll show you a photograph. I went to take a photograph of myself wearing it, and I thought, well, that's not going to work because it's black on black. So I raced upstairs and put on a linen, like a maxi skirt. So I'll insert the photo and show you what it looks like completed, and then I will talk to you about this Suri Tee by Caidree. Okay, there's some patterns that you knit that you just know that you're going to knit more of them, and this is one of them. I absolutely love it. It's nice and cool and drapey. I just absolutely love it. And if I do another one, I'll do a different color. But this is the Suri Tee, but there's also one called the Suri shirt. If I got that back the front, which has got a deep V, and I really like that one too. So that's certainly something that I will knit again, and it's certainly something that I know I'm going to get a lot of wear out of. So this is knitted up in Myak Fior di Lino, and this yarn is it's a combination of 50% Tibetan cloud wool, 35% baby yak, and 15% Italian linen. And what I want to say is it's super, super soft. There's nothing about, because you can see the flecks of linen in it, but they're not scratchy. It's super soft. I've got to be really mindful as well because I've got a mic on. I've been trying to improve my videos, and I actually have a mic on. And when I played back my last episode, I was aware that I actually knocked it a few times and it comes across quite loud. So sorry about that. I'm going to be really mindful not to knock the mic. Yeah, so Fior di Lino, it's 50 grams, it's 200 meters. So it's a 4-ply fingering weight yarn. And I just cannot speak highly enough of this yarn. It's absolutely beautiful. It comes in eight colors. So on my website, it's just under my Fior di Lino. There's 4 of them that I grabbed down. The one that I've done is in the color called Graphite, which is the black. But there's also like this denim blue. There's actually 2 pinks, this one, and there's a lighter one, and there's a mustard, and there's also a color that I think it's called turmeric, looks like pumpkin. And then there's the natural undyed one. I think that one's called Cafe Latte. What's the color on it? Yeah, Cafe Latte. And I'd actually really like one in that color. I am really partial to that natural color. So that's the yarn. So Mohair Fibres, it's all fair trade and traceable and ethically sourced, in case you weren't aware, and it's spun in small artisan mills in Italy. So when I did swatch for it, and I took my measurements, and I should tell you, I did the size, I did the size 3 or 4. Why isn't it there? I'll look at my other notes. But I did my measurements, and it calculated that I'd need 5 balls, but I actually only used 4 balls, and I had 9 grams left over. So I will say the split hem, I shortened the back and the front by 2 centimeters, because I did the back and then I did the front, and I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough wool, and I thought, well, I'm so close, I don't really need to break into the 5th ball. So I did do the split hem 2 centimeters shorter. I think it called for a 10 and a 12 at the back centimeter split hem, and I think I did 8 and 10 instead of 10 and 12, but I still had 9 grams left, so I would have actually had enough to do the 10 and the 12 centimeter split hem. So it is a very size inclusive pattern. It's got 9 sizes. I'm going to say I did the size 3. I'm pretty sure it was the 3, if not the 4. But if you're on that small to medium size range, you'll definitely get this. You'll definitely get this done in 4 balls. 5 balls if you're sort of maybe large through to the XL. So this is knitted in the round, but you start off by knitting the shoulders, then you join the shoulders and cast on additional stitches to create the neckline. Then the front is worked to the underarms with some increasing to shape the armholes. The front is placed on hold. I use these cords to place on hold. I'll show you those later. Placed on hold. Then the back is worked in a very similar way, and then you join it in the round, and it's just straight stockinette stitch all the way down to the body, where you then stop and you split the back and the front, and you do a 2x2 rib for the split hem. I really like the split hem because I think they call it the French tuck, where you can tuck in the front but have the back still hanging out, and that the split hem enables you to do that. It's quite a nice look. The pattern called for a 2x2 Italian bind off. I did do on the neckline, on the sleeves, and the 2 hems, I did do a sewn bind off, and it was called Invisible Sewn Bind Off 2x2 rib in the rounds with a jogless join. And I found that I looked at quite a few, and sewn bind offs are tedious, and there's generally like 4, 5 or 6 movements just to decrease 1 stitch, but it's worth it because the finish you get on your bind off is really, really nice. But the one that I found, I will leave the link for it under tutorials in my show notes, but it's by Project Weekend. And I really liked her clear explanations on how to do it. The video was good. She also had it written down each step, which I was able to pause on my laptop and actually write those steps down, so then I could just sit there and do it. I will say it's something that I needed to do when I was home on my own without distractions, because I needed to count 1 to 9 for each movement. But it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth that sewn 2x2 sewn bind off. So I think that's all I've got to say about the Suri Tee. So the V-neck one must be the Suri shirt. I've got to say as well, like I said, please leave comments, and quite often I get comments where people will correct me, and that's really, really cool. I don't mind that at all, because I'm not perfect, and sometimes I just say silly things without thinking, or I say things that are an uneducated guess. But in my last podcast, I talked about a pattern that I want to knit up using the cashmere. That's the cashmere there. And it's called Pavo, P-A-V-O. And I talked about how I really struggled with that word, because Pavo is a really nasty disease that kills dogs. But quite a few of you come and said to me, no, Lisa, it's parvo. P-A-R-V-O is the disease that kills dogs. So thank you very much for correcting me on that. And I feel a lot better now about knitting that little project called Parvo. But yeah, please leave comments and feedback. Right, so I'm going to go now to my first whip, but I'm just going to clear my lap and get my other things. Do you know what I just did? I just sat here talking away on the next part of my podcast for about 15 minutes, and then I went to pause it and realised that I hadn't even been recording. It's like, I think, a podcaster's worst nightmare, and I think it's something that a lot of podcasters only ever do once. It's the first time I've done it, so it's quite frustrating. So let's see now if I can get back into the groove and repeat what I just said. So the first whip that I want to talk about is the Felix Cardigan, and this cardigan is by Amy Christoffers, and it's a super popular pattern. So on Ravelry there is over 4,000 projects up on Ravelry for this cardigan. It's just beautiful. I purchased this pattern about 3 years ago from Ravelry, so it has been on my radar for a long time, but I just haven't got around to knitting it. When I was at Knit City Toronto in Canada earlier this year, a friend, Noelle from Knits and Pieces podcast, took us to a really big yarn store called the Knitting Loft, and she was actually wearing this cardigan, and I said, I want that cardigan in those colours. So, and she said, oh, well, I got it all at the Knitting Loft. So we went in there and I bought exactly the same. I've copied her exactly. So the yarn I've used this is a sports weight Highland, what is it? It's just a sports weight Highland wool, and the colour's called pink chocolate. So it's just sort of a nice neutral with little splashes of pink and brown in there. The silk mohair is the same colour. It's a 70-30, 70% mohair, 30% silk, and I'm holding that, I'm double stranding those two. And then the real highlight with this is the sequence. So I'm actually holding 3 together, and this is called sequencity. And see there, it's just stunning. So it's a really, really fine thread, and the sequences are spaced out. And what I've done here is I've only put the sequence in alternate rows. So I knit purl, because it's done in a flat, knit purl with the sequence, and then knit purl without it, and then I add it in. And I'm doing that because I don't want it majorly sparkly, but I also don't know that I've got the exact meterage of this that I need to do this. This was actually, I don't want to say how much it was, but because I can't remember, but it actually was quite expensive. I remember buying it thinking, it's up there, but anyway, I bought it. So you can see a bit of sparkle in it. Look at that. The light catches it just beautifully. And I am super, super happy with it. I have had, on my last podcast, one of my customers left a message and asked me, is it scratchy? Do the sequence scratch? And I have tried this on, and I have to say, not really. Yeah, but no, if you know what I mean. It's, I think the mohair fills the gaps and just softens it a whole lot. If you're super sensitive, yeah, it may be a little bit scratchy, and I didn't put it in the first few rows around my neck, and when I do the band, for the collar, I won't put it in the rib of the band. And I will probably always wear this over a t-shirt or, a dress. So I don't think so. But so they're the yarns that I'm using. So what have I written here about this? So it calls for a 10 ply or a worsted weight yarn, and it's done at a 14 stitch gauge. Now I'm holding those three together. I'm doing it on a 6mm needle, which is a US 10, for the main body, and that's what the pattern calls for. So I really think this is really flexible. The mohair, like I said, fills the gaps, but I really think you could do this in any 4 or 5 ply or an 8 ply double stranded with mohair. I'll show you some combinations that I put together that I wanted to show you. I'm doing the size 2 as well, and I'm not sure what that is in centimeters, but I do want it sort of small and cropped. And I also, part of me sort of thinking I might give it to my daughter. I think she'd really like this, but I'll see. I haven't decided on that yet. So it's done top down, and there's the eyelet moffat incorporated into the raglan, and that's the feature of this wee cardigan. Looking at Yeti's going to show up. So these yarn overs that create the eyelets are also your increases for the raglan, and then that's duplicated on the back as well. Show that there. So both the back and the front raglan shape-in has these beautiful eyelets. I'm really super thrilled with it. It's worked in the flat, back and front. You do get to your underarms, and then you put your stitches on hold to go back into your sleeves. I've talked about these cords before. They just make knitting so much easier. And I've also got the body stitches on a cord because I have tried it on, and that's what's just perfect about knitting top down in the round and having cords. If you haven't got these yet, you need to get yourself some. I do sell them. In that tin there's 4. 2 of them are 1.5 meter and 2 of them are 1 meter. So I use the shorter ones for the sleeves and the longer ones for the body. And what I tend to do is I generally only knit a couple of inches into the body, and then I go and do my sleeves before I finish the body. The reason I do that is because I like to try it on, and I think you get a lot better gauge of how it's going to fit you and how it's going to sit when the sleeves are there, and then that just gives you a better idea of how long you want to do it. I do want it cropped. Like I said, you do pick up for the bands and for the button bands at the front, and when I do that I won't add the sequins. So yeah, I'm quite excited about it. I'm excited because, like I said, it has been on my radar for quite a few years, and seeing Noelle wearing hers, it was just like, yeah, I have to have that. And I am really also being quite mindful. I did buy quite a bit of yarn in Canada, but I bought it all nearly all of it with a purpose. So I am trying to get through my stash. But in saying that, I've got some yarn that would be perfect if you want to do this that I'll share with you. So I have in my range now 17 colours in this new Kremke soul wool. It's a kid silk mohair, and it's about 17 colours. And I also have the Stellaaris, which is a sparkle. So although this isn't sequence, it's a very fine thread of beautiful sparkle. And I've got that in about 4 or 5 colours. But these put together, this is just a heavy 4-ply that I've dyed myself. And it's called Pretty in Pink. With the pink mohair and just this little bit of sparkle through it, if you're a pink person, would be stunning. I will leave these combinations in my show notes. This one is like me all over. So I love this colour, always have. It's called Agapanthus, and it looks like a denim blue. It just looks like a good old faded pair of jeans. But I've got the mohair in the denim blue, and then I've also got this blue sparkle. And it looks really dark, like a really dark sapphire. But because the thread is so fine, it's not going to look that dark when it's stranded. You're just going to get that beautiful bit of blue sparkle. So that's the blue combination. This combination, I just thought beach. I thought just, yeah, those summer nights at the beach, I just love these colours. So this is a sports weight. It's a high twist merino, and the colour's called Humbug. Now, isn't that beautiful? That with a white mohair and the cream gold sparkle. I just thought that was stunning. I could see me in that for sure. Actually, I could see me in all these. And then this one it's a little bit moodier if you like your greys. This colour is called Black Beach, and it's sort of greys and mauves. It's a really unique colour, but I thought that paired with a grey silver mohair, and I think this one's called Black Gold. But what you're going to get through there are just splashes of black and gold. I just think they're really nice. So if I've got you excited about doing the Felix cardigan, you may have some yarn in your stash. Pull it out. There's 17 colours of mohair if you haven't got a mohair to go with it. And then look at, on my website, it's called Stellaaris Sparkle. But I will leave those combinations in my show notes. I'm really paranoid now. I keep checking to make sure we're recording. I can't believe I did that. And you know, I've always been conscious of it. I have seen other podcasters do it. I actually watched Andrea Mowry once, and she had done it. And I thought, oh yeah, that's so frustrating, because it's really hard to get your groove back when you're sort of following your notes. But anyway, we're recording, so that's good. I've got 2 other whips that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I haven't done much work on them. But one of them was my Oslo hat. Now, I did take that away with me for my husband's run. And I threw it down here on the floor because I've already talked about it. So I'll get it back. I haven't done a lot, but I love this pattern for its simplicity, really. So the Oslo Hat by Petite Knits. I will insert a photo so you can see. The pattern I'm following is called, it's the mohair edition, but I'm just doing it in a sports weight yarn. And I do it on these 40 centimetre fixed chiaoGoo, which just make life so much easier because you're just working round and round and round. You don't have to worry about magic loop or anything. And I really only did about 2 centimetres. I didn't get much done. It was actually quite an intense event to crew for. It took 3 of us. A lot of my husband's runs, he's gone for hours and hours, so I get a break. But this one was like every 53 minutes he come through. He was really consistent. His time was amazing. But there wasn't much downtime, so I didn't get a lot done. And the other one, sorry for the plastic. I really want to get this done. I want this for this summer, but I've made no progress on it. And it's called the Adventitious by Olga Putana, and I'm knitting it up in 100% baby yak. I'm going to insert a photo of it here so you can see the pattern. So this pattern is actually done from the bottom up, and this wool, this 100% yak, like it's up there with the cashmere. It's divine. It is super, super soft, and I just can't say enough about it. This has been, I'm knitting this up on a 2.75mm needle also, which is quite a fine needle, but the fabric is quite fine and delicate. I will just show you. That's a bit of, I'm going to show there's a bit of the lace work. So there's a lace panel down the front and down the back, and all the rest is just stock and stitch. Like I said, bottom up with a 2x2 rib, and I haven't done any. The reason I haven't done any, because I'll talk about this because it's my next project, this kind of got put on hold as well. So last Saturday, so it's been over a week now, I started a test knit. And it's a test knit that I'm doing in collaboration with Elizabeth from Agapanthus Knits. And it's been knitted up in the Mondim Portuguese wool. And so we're doing it as a collaboration. So I've really got to do the test knit because it's a pattern that I want, that we've worked on together, and that I had a bit of feedback in the design, sort of what I wanted Elizabeth to go away and do. So I'll share that with you now. But that is why I haven't made much progress. These are two of my main whips. I finished this, and then my goal was to work on these two, but then the test knit kind of got in my way. But I'm not sad about that. I'm not sad about that at all. What I'm going to do, because I have actually done enough of it to put on the mannequin, so I will pause here and I will change the mannequin, and I'll come back and talk to you about this test knit. Okay, so this is a test knit that I'm doing, and I'm not sure what the rules are around test knits. I know that Elizabeth's happy for me to talk about it, but quite often test knits are all like top secret. But I did want to talk about this. I showed you a photograph of it in my last podcast, and I'll insert that photo again now so you can see it. And it's got a name now, which it didn't have, but it's called the Candlewick Cardigan by Agapanthus Knits. You've met Elizabeth on my podcast here before. She's a very talented designer, and I love her style of pattern, the way she writes her patterns. They're really simple. They're just to the point, and I would definitely say this is sort of adventurous beginner. Now, how this come about is I actually really wanted a cardigan in this yarn, in this colour, and I wanted some lace work because this yarn, so it's 100% fine Portuguese wool, and it's called Mondim, and it's actually classified as a sock yarn, although it's got no nylon in it, because it's really quite a durable yarn. But it's what I call, I just find it crisp, not crisp as in like linen crisp, but it doesn't have a big fluff factor. So the stitch definition is gorgeous. It's crisp. And I really wanted something in this color. So Elizabeth's done hers in this, it's like a dusty pink. There's about 9 colors. So you can have a look at that on my website. But, and it's also a non-superwash yarn. So a lot of sock yarns and indie dyed yarns are superwash, but this is non-superwash. So it does just have a point of difference. Yeah, and it does actually although, I mean, it's soft to work with, but it blooms after washing and blocking. It really does soften a bit more. I'll tell you what happened with this. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't think I'd actually done the sleeves. I think I was still on the back yoke. And I was sitting there and it was nighttime and I've got a little knitting table beside me. And I had this tiny little puddle of cream, hand cream, that I'd been given as a sample. And I thought, oh, my hands were feeling really dry. So I thought, I'll try that. And I opened it and the room was quite warm that day and it had liquefied and it spilt the whole contents. And thank God it was only a tiny little tin, but the whole contents of it spilt in my lap and on my knitting. Oh, I was speechless. And even my husband just like looked, think, oh my God, she's really just going to have a nut. Like she has spilt oily stuff all over her knitting. And I kind of just like sat there in shock for a minute. But anyway, I got my wool wash out. I put it on hold. I put all my stitches on cables and I got my wool wash out and I washed it and it all come out. So actually half of it has already been washed and the other half hasn't. And I could really feel the softness of the side that had been washed. And the other thing about this cardigan, I wanted something, and Elizabeth has done a really good description here. Think summer, linen dresses, evening get-togethers, picnics in the park, and of course work. So this cardigan is ideal to wear over dresses, over like high-waisted trousers. It's just a nice little summer cardigan. I wanted the tight gauge and I wanted the lace work. And Elizabeth has also commented to me, Lisa, she has said, Lisa, that yarn is beautiful for lace work. Like the lace work just pops. The photograph of Elizabeth's finished one that I inserted, you can see a bit of the lace work there. I have started on one sleeve and it's called a contiguous, but you pick up your sleeves and then the sleeve cap is just a whole series of German short rows until that point that I'm at now, and now I can start working down the length and some sleeve decreasing. But I really like that sleeve cap. I think it's really effective and it just sits well on the shoulders. It's snug as opposed to like other cardigans that are that yoke construction. They can drop a little bit, where this is quite a snug fit over the shoulders. The pattern also for the lace work, it's charted and written. I know not everybody loves charts and not everyone loves written, so she has done both. I am doing the size 5, so which the first few sizes are really quite small. I'm doing it for a finished bust circumference of 100 centimeters, which is actually my finished bust circumference at the widest points, which is going to give me no positive ease, but that's actually what I want. I want it to be quite sort of fitted, as opposed to my Felix cardigan, which is going to be quite boxy. This is going to be quite fitted. That's my goal. The stitch gauge is 28 stitches, and that's on a 3.25mm needle, and then a 2.75 for the ribbing. What I have done, and I do this all the time, and I've talked about it a whole lot. So this is all done in a 3.25mm, but for my sleeve, I have gone up to a 3.5. And I'm doing it, actually the needle's still on there. So that's the little 30 centimeter fixed circulars, which I talk about, perfect for sleeve knitting. I've gone up to a 3.5mm. So I've gone up quarter of a size. And the reason for that is because I know I knit tighter in small circumference, and a lot of people do, and you may not realize you do, but I also know that I don't want the top part of my arms. I always feel like, and it's my chunkiest point, I like that to be a little bit more relaxed around the top of my arm. So I have gone up a quarter of a needle size. So don't be afraid to do that if you are knitting sleeves and you think, yeah, you're right, they're often a bit snug, because you really can't tell. It's just the gauge is just a little bit more relaxed. So that's that. What I will say about this yarn too is the ball never seems to end. I'm still on my first ball. I haven't got a lot left, but I've probably got enough to do a good part of that sleeve, and that's still my first ball. So for most sizes, you will get this out of 3, and this isn't an expensive yarn. It's quite affordable, which is quite good, but the balls just keep going on and on and on. I don't know, but 3 is all I'm going to need to do this. Maybe 4 if you are sort of in those larger sizes. Okay, so that's all I've got to show you. I'm leaving the best for last, which is the lace work. I am looking forward to doing the lace work, but I wanted to do both of the sleeves at least to short sleeve length so I can try it on, yeah, before I decide on the body. So, and the thing with the body, so she's told you how many centimeters to allow for the lace work, because all the lace work is from here down. So any additional length that you want to add to it, you need to add here at this point, or maybe add it by doing a wider band at the bottom. But what I'm hoping to do is be able to calculate, okay, that's where the lace work will finish, that's where my reb will finish, and work up, so I can work out how much more I need to do. I don't think I need to do much more. I think I really need to start the lace work now. Okay, so that here I am talking about this pattern that's not even available. It will be available late September, October. We're in late September now, aren't we? So I think it's still about 4 weeks away. But I did want to share it with you because it's what I've been knitting on. So, and if you think it's a pattern that you may like, get ready. Get your yarn now, and you can swatch. Because I can tell you what, the gauge, you need 28 stitches on a 3.25mm needle. But yeah, get ready, and I'm really quite excited about it. So, and I have got one more new cast on, but I'm just gonna get it. Okay. So this next whip, it's a new cast on. I'll go back a bit, go back to the drawing board. Have you ever had that yarn in your stash that you love and that you want to put it into a project, but you just can't find the right project? Well, that's been my dilemma for the last about month. So this is probably the only yarn that I bought in Canada that I didn't really have a project for, but I knew I wanted it. The brand is called Biche Bush, and it's 100% organic cotton. And I've got about 4 colors, and I've probably got enough for two t-shirts. They probably will have to be striped. And I have swatched about 4 times. I've actually wasted many hours trying to find a project for this yarn, and it really shouldn't be that hard. And I have swatched for a few different ones that didn't quite work out, and I just wasn't confident. And then the other night I sat there and I just thought, the Tolster Tee, that would be perfect. So this pattern, the Tolster Tee, I brought this down just so I thought I'd show you. This isn't new. I finished this a few months ago and I absolutely love it. But it's a classic raglan tee, but it's so adaptable. So it's by Rebecca Clow, and I'll insert a picture of that for you now so you can see it. But this, she refers to it as a blank canvas for all your creative ideas. So this pattern includes instructions and documents for a whole lot of other things that you can do with it. So you can do it striped, you can do it with eyelets, there's a whole lot of literature with it telling you how to modify this pattern. So think of it as a blank canvas. When you purchase the pattern, you get it in the DK and the finger in weight version. So the DK is a 17 stitch gauge and the finger in weight is a 24 stitch gauge, which is what I did this with. And I actually wear it and I love it. I love the neckline. I love the increasing is quite unique. You sort of increase like down to here, and then she changes it here. So it just gives you this really perfect fit. Sometimes you just got to go to the basics, right? And so I swatched for it. And I'm absolutely thrilled, and I love the feel of it, and I actually can't wait to do it. So I've only got as far as I've done the neckline, and I'm just working down here. I have cast it on in the darker color. This is like a really dark charcoal, and I'm going to stripe it with this one. It's like I don't know what you call that color. But I'm going to stripe it, but I'm actually going to do quite wide stripes. So I'm probably still a couple of centimeters off adding my second color, and it's turning out perfect. And I just wanted to knit in plant fiber. I wanted something just in cotton, and that's why I bought the yarn, because I hadn't found, I mean, I could have, if I'd shopped further abroad, I probably could have found 100% cotton. But I loved the feel of this. I love the colors, and I just think it's going to make a perfect t-shirt. So that's my new cast on. And I know that once it's easy knitting. It's such a good pattern. I really encourage you to do it. And like I said, once you've got the pattern, you can whip one up in a DK 8-ply, you can whip one up in a 4-ply, you can stripe it. There's modifications where you can do all little eyelets through it. It's just so versatile. So that is what I've been doing. I must say though, I'm doing a lot of stock and stitch, like lots and lots. So my Felix Cardigan, it's all stock and stitch. The test knit that I'm doing so far has all been stock and stitch, so I'm really looking forward to getting to the lace work on that. This one is all stock and stitch, so that's definitely a night time, sit in front of the TV, not having to think knitting. But I really want to go back to my Agapanthus, because that has got lace work in it, although there's a lot of stock and stitch in that as well. But yeah, I kind of really need, as much as I love all the projects I'm doing, I probably do need something a bit more challenging. So I don't know what that's going to look like. Just wanted to say, so in this as well, I'm doing the size 4, which is a finished bust measurement of 110 centimeters. So that's going to give me about 10 centimeters of positive ease. And I think with the cotton, it's going to be quite drapey as well. So, which I'm more than happy with for a summer t-shirt. And I'm hoping it's going to be a bit boxy, a bit like this one I'm wearing. Actually, I might even do a split hem on it. Yeah, I want it to be sort of drapey. I want it to be a loose sort of summer garment. So this pattern as well, it's a bit like the Felix or a ranunculus or a love note. There's over 3,500 projects on Ravelry. So it's definitely a tried and tested pattern. Yeah, and she does actually say that, you know, you could use cotton or linen blends. It's probably a good segue into me showing you some new yarns that I've got, because I have brought these into my store for our summer. We're on the southern hemisphere, so it's spring and we're going into summer. And it's a beautiful spring day here today. The sun is shining. It is really calm. I can just hear the birds. It's just a really nice spring day. It was a wee bit crisp this morning, a bit cool. Still quite a bit of snow around, but it's a beautiful spring day. But I wanted to I got the Myak, which is sort of a cotton blend, and the one that I knitted, this one, which is a linen sort of blend. But I've ordered these two. So this one's a Lino. I'll just show you quickly. These are a lot more affordable than the Myak. So if you've sort of been looking at doing maybe the Stromboli or some of the patterns that I've shown you for the Myak, but you're thinking, oh, it's just a wee bit expensive, these are a nice alternative. So this is 50% linen, 50% cotton. At the moment, I only have 4 colours. It's like a blue, a light brown, a mustard, and a neutral. But that's if you're looking at doing a summer knit. And it's quite funny. So 50 grams is 125 meters. So for me, that says it's a DK 8 ply. But I think it's quite versatile. Just got to swatch with it. So that's the 50-50. This one here is called Studio Linen by Erica Knight, and this is 100% linen. It comes in these little skeins, and once again, I think I only brought in 4 colours just to dip my toes in the water, so to speak. Now this one here is 85% viscose recycled linen. So they take all these fabrics, linens, and they sort of turn them back into a pulp, and then they respin them. And the other 15% is a premium linen. Certainly feels soft to the touch, but if you're after sort of 100% linen, that's the Erica Knight. Yeah, and they'd be perfect for the Tolster, the Tolster tee, if you want to do a linen or a linen cotton. Okay, sort of nearly getting towards the end. I hope you're still with me. Actually, I should talk about the winner. So the winner of this, and I will email her, but like I said, I didn't want to put it on the screen because then I'd be giving everyone her email address. But the winner of this beautiful Myak box is Brenda Marquet. Brenda. Congratulations, Brenda. I will email you and I will get your address to get that in the mail for you. Okay, so there's a new designer that's I've found. She's not new, she's probably been out there quite a while, but she's new to me. And I thought I'd also recommend, she's a really nice one to follow on Instagram. She puts up some really nice photographs, but her name, I hope I'm going to say this right. It's either Zanette or Zanetti, Zanette. She's a knitwear designer. She was formerly a software developer, and then during her maternity leave got into knitting and designing. She's in the UK, and she's very accomplished in that she has sold over 30,000 patterns. So yeah, and she's designed around 82 beautiful patterns. So I'm going to leave the Ravelry link in the show notes below, and I'll also leave the link if you want to follow her on Instagram, and you can sign up to her newsletter as well. But the top that I found of hers, okay, so in my last couple of podcasts, I've talked to you about a pattern called the Love Letter. I won't put the image in because I have talked to you about it a few times, and I've really wanted to do it. And of course, this cotton that I just talked about, the Biche Bush, it just wasn't suitable. I think I needed more of a DK weight. Yeah, so I've been looking at similar patterns. That's how I come across this, because I was looking for a pattern for that yarn, like I as I mentioned before, and I couldn't find one. And I happened to come across Zanetti Knits, and the pattern that I found, which I really, really liked, it's called Moon Glow Top. And I will insert a photograph of it here for you to see. And she describes it as being the ultimate summer party top, combines simplicity and comfort in its construction, yet offers intriguing texture with lace and cable. It's worked seamlessly from the top down, features angled shoulder seams at the back, decreases, lace pattern, and then of course you can customize the length. So this pattern incorporates cables, eyelets, I cord edging, and it's done top down in the round. So all those things really appeal to me. 9 sizes, so it's very size inclusive. And she does on YouTube, and I will leave the link for her YouTube channel, some really good tutorials. So with every pattern that she releases, she does tutorials on some of the techniques. So that pattern requires DK 20 stitch gauge. And yeah, so the 2 yarns that I've just shown you, I think would work. So the Lino, 50% cotton, 50% linen, 125 meters for 50 grams is $13. And the Studio linen, which is the 100% linen, for 50 grams, 125 meters. So the same weight, this one's $21. Yeah, so that's how I come about that pattern, because I was looking to use my yarn. I've just written a note to myself here that I share with you. Sometimes the older patterns that I've done, like the Tulsa Tee, you know, they say the oldies but the goodies, and I think it's okay to knit the same pattern once, twice, 3 times, 4 times if you love it. Like this pattern here, I will knit again, and this one here I'm knitting again. So they're basic, they're simple, but I know that I'll get a lot of wear out of them. Okay, my next one I wanted to talk about is also one that I've done before, but my daughter now wears it. I'm just going to pause for a moment and regather myself. So I'm a little bit on the theme of oldies but goodies. I'm going to insert a photo of this pattern that I have knitted before, but like I said, my daughter's got it. And it's the Weekend Slipover V-neck by Petite Knits. Now, so the Weekend Slipover V-neck is worked from the top down. First, the back yoke is worked back and forth with the shoulder slope shaped using short rows. Then each front is worked separately, while increases are worked to shape the V neckline. The front and the back yokes are then joined in the round to form the body. So that's worked on circular needles down to the hem. The ribbed neck edge and armhole edges are worked at the end. So begin by doing a swatch. Now it's a 15 stitch gauge, so she recommends like a 12 ply or a bulky yarn. The first one I did was actually just a 4 ply with a mohair, and it was fine. It worked really well. But I received an order of mohair, which I talked about before, that there's 17 colours. And it was like, oh, I just have to do another V-neck slipover, and I want to do one for myself. And the perfect, if you want to do one, so my knit by numbers is a DK weight, and there's 40 colours available. And the Kid Silk mohair, there's 17 colours. And the combination of those 2 yarns would be perfect for that vest. So I want to do one. I haven't decided on my colour, But I am looking at this combination, which is a chocolate brown. It's number 8 with the chocolate brown mohair. But then I also like this combination. This is number 12. And I think this one's called Camel. But it's quite a nice neutral, both of those. Like I don't know what it is, but the browns. But I thought I'd show you these two as well. So actually I had a customer last week buy this combination. It's just stunning. So this green is number 69. And I think that's just apple green. But that would be beautiful. This one is number 84, and it's like a light denim blue with that denim mohair that I showed you early on. That would be stunning. But I mean, there's pinks, there's oranges, there's reds, there's purples, there's black, there's white. There's so many combinations for that pattern. Oh, there we go. My computer went to sleep again. Yeah, a lot of combinations. And the good thing with vests, even good thing with any t-shirts, I've said this before, I get more wear out of my short sleeve garments than I do my jerseys, because my jerseys often feel too hot. But in the winter, I wear these over a base layer. So that vest definitely could wear in the winter, layered. My daughter wears it as a t-shirt, and it just looks stunning because it's quite boxy on her, and it's got the deep V-neck, and it just looks nice as a t-shirt. If you've actually been to Christchurch to Wool Feast the last couple of years, she's been there helping me and she's worn it. So you may have seen her, if you're in Christchurch, you may have seen her wearing it. But it's a really nice V-neck slip over. So yeah, an oldie but a goodie. Right. So when I was doing that, I also found another new pattern. Don't know when or how, and she's actually a new designer to me as well. So I thought I will just share this one with you. Actually, I think it came across on my Instagram, and then I went over to Ravelry and had a look. And it's called the Chantel Sweater V-neck. And this is a really relaxed, oversized sweatshirt, and it's in a slip stitch pattern. When I first looked at it, I thought maybe it was brioche or half brioche. She refers to it as a slip stitch, so maybe it is like a half brioche or a fisherman's rib. I'm not quite sure because I haven't purchased the pattern, but I'll insert a photo here and I'll show you the pattern. What she's written here is the Chantel Sweater V-neck is worked top down in a slip stitch pattern, starting at the back and forth to do the back yoke. It's raglan, it's V-neck, short rows, da-da-da-da-da-da. The V-neck is shaped, the stitches are joined, and the yoke, and then you work it in the round. And then finally, the ribbing, the hem, and the neckline is done in a 1x1 rib. I really like the look of that jersey. I love the V-neck, and like I said, it kind of looked a bit like a half fisherman's rib or a half brioche, but the other thing that appealed is that it's done in a sports weight yarn, a 5-ply. So I would recommend the yarn Adalic. And I looked at some of the projects, and I have to show you this colour. I looked at some of the projects, and most of them were done in that creams and neutrals, but there was one done in this colour, and this colour is called Pink Moon, and it's in the yarn Adalic, which is a sports. And I don't want to get too close because my light's showing a bit of yellow. It's just a really nice neutral. It's not what I'd call a pink. I suppose it's got pink hues to it. But that's the colour that I think I want to do that Chantel sweater in. So yeah, just another pattern that I wanted to share with you. And of course, I like to share the patterns that I know that I can actually back it up with the yarn that you can do it in. So I'm now getting towards the end. I say this in all my podcasts. There are so many knitting podcasts out there, And if you choose to spend your time with me, like, I really, really appreciate it. I just get really excited at growing my YouTube channel. So thank you. Okay, so I'm going to leave the links below for these. So I've got a few recommendations for Instagram. And the first one is, I talked about her, Zanetti Knits. I will leave the link. The other one that's nice to follow, because her photos are beautiful, and that's actually Petite Knit. If you're not following her yet, I'd recommend following her. And there's another one that I've come across, Coco Amore Knitwear. I'll put that on the bottom of the screen there so you can see it, but I will leave the link below. And they're three that I follow on Instagram. And I just like looking at the pictures. It's really quite, for me, it's quite motivational. And every now and then, like with that pattern I just showed you, I'll see a new pattern and I jump over to Ravelry and have a look. So, and I've got a couple of new knitting YouTube podcasts that I thought that I would share with you. I have to be honest, I haven't been watching many. The last 3 weeks has been really busy and I just haven't been watching any. What I have been doing, and I'll share more about that with you later, but I have been doing some further educational things to upskill myself, and they're done online. So I have actually, and when I say they're done online, I just watch the videos while I'm knitting, but that has taken up some of my time. But I will leave the link to these. There's one that I come across, and it's called It Is a Sarah, and she does it in English and I want to say Danish, but I'm not sure. But look for the English version, and I just really like her aesthetic. She's really calm and her background is really neutral and she's just really lovely to watch. The other one, I'm not sure if I've mentioned before, but it's called Danish Musing. And she's also, I really like her aesthetic. She's really calming as well. And she's just really nice to watch. So it's Danish Musing. It's a Sarah. And one that I only found this yesterday actually, but it's another local Christchurch one. Christchurch is here where I live, and it's a couple, husband and wife, and they're really amazing knitters. They get so much knitting done, it amazes me. Quite professional, I would call them really professional knitters, and it's called Just Another Knitting Podcast. I will leave the link below. I think they've only done 4 or 5, so they're quite new at YouTube, but I'm pretty sure they'll do quite well because I've actually really enjoyed watching them. I have met, so their names, BB and I want to say Stephen. I have met, BB has been here to my shop, and I also met her at Woolfest, which is local. So I just thought it's really nice to give locals, shout out to locals. So I'll leave the links below for those YouTube podcasts. Shop updates. I've got a couple, but I have actually touched on most of them. That was the new mohair in 17 colours. I don't need to go on about that one anymore. Also the Stellaaris sparkle yarn. I think in my last episode I might have had 2 colours, where now I've got 4 or 5 of the sparkle. The chiaoGoo, I love chiaoGoo needles, and I often say to people they will change your knitting, and once you've used chiaoGoo you'll never go back. And I did just want to, I sell the sets, so they come in 4-inch or 5-inch, and then there's the small set, and then there's a complete set. The website explains everything. But what I did want to say is that in those sets, I include as a gift with purchase, free of charge, the 3mm tips, because the set goes from a 2.75 to a 3.25 and up, and it doesn't do a 3. I don't know why, but I use 3 a lot, so I guess that a lot of other people would use a 3. So for supporting my online store and supporting me being a chiaoGoo stockist, I did just want to say that I do include that free of charge. I have had really good response to my thread and maple range. That's the leather binders that hold your needles. I just love mine. I seriously, seriously love mine. I've got all my needles now in one binder, but I just want to thank everybody that has got behind that range. And I have sold out of quite a few of the things. So I just wanted to let you know there is a new order in the system, and I have ordered quite a few new lines. So I've got some bags coming, some actual leather project bags. Also, yeah, just different pages, new pages. I've got a little, I think it's called On the Go, which is one of their biggest selling products. And it's just a little pouch that holds your scissors and darning needles. If you know thread and maple, you probably know of this little pouch that I'm talking about. I have got some of them coming. Oh, I need a drink. So for all of my overseas viewers, and particularly Australia, didn't come out right. So within New Zealand, I use Courier Post, right? But anything outside of New Zealand, I use DHL for my freight. But I did just want to tell you that I've partnered up with them for my international deliveries, and I'm part of their Go Green Plus campaign, and that's a delivery service. They're utilising sustainable aviation fuel. So, and that is just a commitment to doing better things by the environment, right? Because we always talk about the environmental footprint, and I know that if I'm getting overseas deliveries, I'd rather support a company that is seen to be trying to do things better for the environment. So I am part of the Go Green Plus service with DHL for my overseas deliveries. And with Australia, it's 48 hours if you live in the main sort of cities. And I have got quite a few customers, and I have had quite a few of you come back and say, wow, that was amazing. I placed my order and I got it in 2 days. So it's a pretty good service. That was all about that. I think I finished. I am, like I said, I'll insert a couple of photos of what's been going on in my life for the last few weeks as far as running, not me. My husband's running and my daughter's graduation. Super proud moment. I don't know what happened, but I pretty well cried through the whole ceremony, and it went for 2 hours. I don't know whether it was just almost probably like a relief for her that she's finally done it, and now she can just go out there and live her best life. I did get quite emotional. It was quite embarrassing, actually. I was sort of, oh, just wiping tears. My husband's looking at me going like, serious? She hasn't even got up there yet. But anyway, that's what's been going on in my life for the last few weeks. All really good stuff. So I think that's me done. I will notify the winner of that prize. And once again, I just want to say thank you for spending your time with me, for subscribing to my channel. Like I said, please leave comments, please give the thumbs up. It just helps me get recognition from YouTube, and it helps my channel to grow. Thank you to everybody that visits my online store. Everybody that's subscribed to my email, you'll be aware that I haven't even sent you one yet because I've just been too busy. But rest assured that you can subscribe to my email and you won't be getting spammed every week, maybe once a month or 6 weeks. I don't think I've got anything else new. I don't know if I told you, I have stocked up on my hand creams. So I sell the solid bar. I haven't got one here. Mine's over on my chair where I knit, but the solid bar is really popular and I absolutely love it, but I have restocked those. I am just looking around. I'll have my shop open this Saturday as normal, 10 to 2. I may be extending my shop hours as well in the near future. I will talk to you about that. The parking situation is changing in my street, and that's a big barrier for me of opening on during the week. But I'll talk to you more about that. And that's really only if you're a Christchurch resident that is of any concern to you. So I hope to get to you in 2 weeks, but 3 at the latest. I really hope to have my Felix cardigan finished and my test knit. And just a great big thank you once again. Enjoy the next couple of weeks. I hope you get lots of knitting done. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you. Bye.